Now at 6, Oregon reports its first measles case this year. We have the latest on your potential exposure risk coming up in a live report. Plus,
you got to get them back. And they came back, and it was a great thing, and it's going very well.
President Trump in the Netherlands this morning feeling very confident about the ceasefire deal between Israel and Iran. We're going to cover that and other national headlines later this hour.
And later, a rift between two actors after one bit the other at a convention in Washington. We have the details on that as your 6 o'clock hour of Sunrise starts right now. Good morning, and thank you for joining us on your Wednesday. I'm China Green.
And I'm Drew Carney. Do you know the details about this story about the actor biting the other actor? I had not heard anything about this.
Oh, yeah.
Rod, are you familiar with this story?
I'm not, but it does make me wonder if either one of you have ever bitten a coworker. That's a fair question. I'm waiting for the answer.
I'm going to go ahead and tell you no. Now, have I thought about it? No, let's not go there.
All right.
Rodney.
Here's our Snook Winds Casino Resort camera. We do have fog being reported this morning from Lincoln City southward down into Newport. Some misty weather, maybe some light rain being reported. Tough to tell from the observations. But that's socked in. I mean, you can barely see the beach. That's Snook Winds Casino Resort in Lincoln City this morning. We could see a trace of rain here in the valley today. The low clouds you see expected to hold throughout the day. I think most of us will just be dry, but overcast. Our state capital live sky camera, 56 degrees right now. Here's downtown Portland looking south down the Willamette, and we're dry and 58. Winds are light. So if the clouds hold all day, we probably won't make it to 70. I have a 67 at 5 o'clock, so obviously a really comfortable day to be out and about. Back to you.
Actually, Rod, can you transition with traffic alert time?
We have a traffic alert.
Yes, we do, Rod Hill. Starting tomorrow morning, 9 o'clock, Southwest Durham Road in Tigard is going to be closed on the west side of Upper Boones Ferry Road. So keep in mind, this is a closure that was scheduled, but it's actually happening now a day earlier than planned. So that stretch of Durham Road is expected to stay closed, again, from tomorrow morning until 9 o'clock next Monday night as crews work to replace a railroad crossing.
Today, President Donald Trump is meeting with global leaders at the NATO summit as his ceasefire between Israel and Iran holds steady.
There's also been some reports in the last 24 hours that Iran's nuclear program may not be as damaged as first described earlier this week. NBC's Alice Barr has the latest on all of this for us from Washington, D.C.
President Trump at the NATO summit in the Netherlands with key allies touting a diplomatic win between two sworn enemies as a fragile ceasefire between Israel and Iran appears to be holding, recounting how he urged Israel's prime minister to back off a planned retaliatory strike.
I said, you got to get them back. And they came back, and it was a great thing, and it's going very well.
At the same time, there are new questions about how effective U.S. airstrikes on Iranian nuclear sites were, with a preliminary assessment by the U.S. Defense Intelligence Agency estimating Iran's nuclear program has been delayed by 3 to 6 months. That's according to 3 people with knowledge of the report. The White House calling that assessment flat out wrong.
We hear it was obliteration. It was a virtual obliteration.
But one of the sources said core pieces remain intact. Questions also over what Iran may have moved from its nuclear sites before the U.S. strikes.
I believe they didn't have a chance to get anything out because we acted fast.
Top Democrats in Congress accusing the Trump administration of misrepresenting the truth about the damage, questioning why the White House delayed planned briefings lawmakers have been demanding.
What are they running away from?
The head of the United Nations nuclear watchdog pointing to an important degree of visible damage.
The Iranian nuclear program has been set back significantly.
While acknowledging no one could fully assess the destruction underground at the key Fordo site, pressing Iran to resume diplomacy for a long-term solution. In Washington, Alice Barr, NBC News.
Meanwhile, Homeland Security is warning about what it's calling a heightened threat environment here in the U.S. because of the conflict between Israel and Iran. So it says people should be especially on guard against cyber attacks. Here's what one local security expert and a retired member of the FBI had to say about it.
We focus a lot on physical security. It's where people see the most security improvements in their spaces, and cyber needs to be as important to all of these organizations as well.
Oregon's emergency management team is asking everyone to stay informed and pay attention to news updates. Look out for suspicious behavior and let authorities know about anything that doesn't look or seem right. And they say be extra careful online, watching out for scams, phishing emails, or suspicious links. Doctors have confirmed the first case of measles in Oregon this year.
Health officials also say people may have been exposed in a couple of very busy public areas. Sunrise reporter Thomas Schultz joins us from one of those spots, a grocery store in Lake Oswego. So Thomas, what do we know?
Well, Drew and China, state officials say that infected person visited this Safeway here in Lake Oswego on Sunday between 11:30 and 3 p.m. A few days before visiting the grocery store, health officials say the infected person was hospitalized with a rash and pink eye. On Monday, a lab confirmed the disease. Health officials say the patient had recently traveled internationally as well. On June 17th, they took a United Airlines flight from Chicago to Portland, landing around 6:30. Health officials say they spent 2 hours at PDX, including time in baggage claim. Now, they worry the disease could spread quickly, particularly among people who are not vaccinated.
It lands in a group of relatively unvaccinated people, it'll spread like wildfire. And so, what our summer looks like is going to be dependent on what that happens, whether that happens.
And if the medical advice is to be vaccinated, then we're vaccinated. I don't see where there's a debate, and as a consequence, people are going to die unnecessarily with an eradicated disease. It's unbelievable.
Now, health officials say that if you are traveling, whether internationally or domestically, make sure you're up to date on that measles vaccine. That's an MMR vaccine. They also say that if you have not gotten your vaccine, they're urging you to get it and to remember that it's 2 shots. That is the recommended level that offers 97% protection against the measles. Drew, China.
All right, Thomas Schultz reporting live from Lake Oswego this morning. Thank you, Thomas. The National Transportation Safety Board held a hearing yesterday as it works to understand why a door plug blew off a Boeing 737 aircraft over Portland early last year. A preliminary investigation placed blame on missing boltsmen to hold that door plug in place. Now, that was confirmed in yesterday's hearing. Then the board pushed further on how it was possible the bolts could be missing in the first place.
This isn't all on Boeing or Spirit. I have lots of questions about where FAA was during all of this. The FAA is the absolute last barrier of defense when it comes to ensuring aviation safety.
The NTSB chair acknowledged Boeing's efforts to improve its safety and quality control programs. She also indicated the FAA has heard the wake-up call to improve its oversight.
TSA is predicting about 19 million Americans will fly somewhere for the upcoming 4th of July holiday, and they say the busiest day for travel is expected to be 2 days after the 4th on Sunday, July 6th. So here's a tip from TSA. If you have TSA pre-check, kids 12 and under can accompany you through that pre-check line.
Hey, if you plan to drive this 4th of July, expect to pay a little more at the pump. AAA says gas prices are climbing across the country as crude oil prices jump in response to the strikes between Israel and Iran and the U.S. attack on Iran's nuclear facilities. AAA expects more than 61 million Americans to hit the road for the holiday. Oregon's current average is about $4.08 per gallon. In Washington, it's $4.46 a gallon. The national average is about $3.23 a gallon.
All right, next stop here on the Sunrise Show, Pioneer Courthouse Square. Take a look at that.
Wow.
Yeah, there is a giant hot air balloon down there, Rod. It's a Disney hot air balloon, and apparently it's on the square today to celebrate Disney's 70th anniversary. Disneyland, that is. The Disneyland theme park in California is 70 years old this year. I had no idea this balloon was showing up.
I looked at our camera earlier. Earlier, maybe an hour ago. Nothing caught my eye, but now they got that thing blown up. We had some illumination there. It's kind of exciting.
Or maybe an hour ago it was floating through the skies, Rod, before it landed there at the square.
70 years old. You think they would have figured out a cheaper price structure by now?
We're all paying it.
Just saying.
So they're going to keep charging it.
Okay. Here's a look at the Providence Park camera. We've got cloudy skies over the West Hills. It's a solid marine deck of low clouds, coast and valley today. And one of those days, I don't really expect the clouds to break. If we get some breaks in cloud cover, we'll get up to around 70 for high. If we don't, we won't, and we'll see highs stay in the 60s. So far, the only light moisture falling out of the clouds have been reported at the beach. Here's a look at our temperatures out the door. We have light winds. It's super comfortable outside. 57 in Gresham. Good morning to you. It's also 57 over in Tigard. Good morning. McMinnville, what you got? 52 this morning. There's Dallas at 53. It's 55 down in Corvallis as we begin this day. Here's a look at Futurecast. Just going to highlight for you the low clouds up and down the west side, coast and valley. And this shows the clouds don't break. And we think we have a repeat of this tomorrow as well. All right, so for today, 70 at most up and down the Willamette Valley. Most of us, I think, will hold in the 60s, certainly closer to 60 with some light rain at times at the coast. Maybe a traceable raindrop here in the valley. I don't really expect anything, but don't be surprised. We have partly to mostly sunny skies, central and eastern areas, and in the 80s, but for the most part, comfortably so. 83, Baker City, John Day 82, and Madras gets up to 83. Our 7-day forecast. So the 2-day cool off, thanks to the low cloud deck today and tomorrow. Now, tomorrow, there's a reasonable chance that we will see some light rain or misty weather, and maybe some of that is enough to become measurable in a rain gauge. Friday is the day that we break out of this. We warm back up to 75 with developing sun. And then the weekend is still warming up with sunny skies both days. 84 on Saturday, 87 on Sunday. There's that one-day heat spike hitting 93 on Monday of next week, and that is your update.